How's it going, Pokemoshpitbeta? My name is IncaseAce, and I'm here bringing you a battle, and it was a really good one I had against a guy who calls himself Swift, and I hope you guys enjoy, and here we go. So, I start off with Ninetales, he goes into Mamoswine, I have my son, and I go straight for the Flamethrower, and he decides to set up Stealth Rocks. So, I guess he thought I'd go for Flamethrower again, so I decided to go for a Hidden Power, and predict the switch, and it did good for me. I switch back, he switches back in, I go for another Hidden Power, and there we go with that. Mamoswine's out of the way. So I decide to switch out from Vaporeon comes in, and here comes Virizion. He decides to go for a Surf. It doesn't really do anything. I decide to go for a Leaf Blade, and it does a lot to it. So he decides to Wish, and I knew he was going to protect anyway, so I decided to go for a Swords Dance, trying to set up a little. And he gets most of his health back, but it doesn't really matter anyway because he just has to stay in, and I go for another Leaf Blade, and that's already out of the way. So he goes into Archeop here. I know I can't take anything, so I decide to switch out into my Vaporeon, and he goes for a U-turn trying to get switch advantage on me, knowing I'd switch. So he goes into Shaman. I decide to protect here to see what he would do to me, and he decides he wanted to set up the Leech Seed. So, and I decide to switch out here, knowing I don't really want the Leech Seed on me, and go into Scizor, and he ends up going for another Leech Seed, and now that's going to hurt Scizor a lot. Sea Flare doesn't do much, but that Leech Seed's going to really hurt me. So I go for Bug Bite, and Shaman doesn't really get much out of it. Well, it did a lot of damage, but I was expecting a one hit. Anyways, he switches out into Conkeldurr, predicting another Bug Bite. And I just keep losing damage to Leech Seed. I decided to switch out. I decided to go into my Runny Clues. He decides to set up, predicting my switch. So, he sends in his Heatran, predicting the Psychic. And so he decides to go for a Fire Blast, thinking he can get me in one hit. And I hold on. I go for a Focus Blast, and Heatran is out of the way. But Blobby doesn't really have a purpose anymore. So, he goes into Conkeldurr. He Mach Punches me. And I thought I could get at least a Psychic off, but I guess not. So, I send Caesar back in, and I go for a Superpower. I guess he didn't go for Mach Punch for some reason. Maybe it was a misclick or something. Anyways, he knew I was going to die, but he ends up setting up a Bulk Up. So, I guess that was his strategy. So, I go into my Vaporeon, and at that point, I go for Protect, trying to see what it'd do to me. So, it goes for a Drain Punch, now I know it's one of those annoying Conkeldurr sets. So I go for Scale, thinking I could do something to it, and I was wrong, really wrong. So he gets a Drain Punch off on me. He gets a lot of its health back, and I decide to set up a Wish for something to come in, but no, doesn't really work out. He gets the Drain Punch off, gets most of his health back. So I decide to go into my Scarf Tiny Wings, and Tiny Wings will go for an Outrage right here, but it didn't do much enough to kill it. And he goes for one Stone Edge and gets me. So I go into my Ghost Fox, and he Mach Punches me, and it does a lot to me. So I decide to Flamethrower, see what I can do, and it ends up killing it. So I'm happy about that. So he goes into Archeops. I decide to go for an Energy Ball, see what I can ever so do to it, and he goes for one Stone Edge and gets rid of me. So at that point, all I have left is Virizion. So I'm actually faster. I go for the Close Combat, and I kill it in one go. So that was really good. And all he has left is Shaman. So I guess I decided to set up a Swords Dance here, try and get as much damage as possible on it. He goes for Earth Power. It doesn't do much to me. So at this point, I'm pretty much okay. I go for a Close Combat, and Shaman is out of the way. So good game, Stiff. And thank you guys so much for watching. And I'll see you guys next time.